Goldberg slams WWE and reveals backstage heat with Triple H. Plus, a mass exodus is on the horizon for a major wrestling promotion, and a WWE star has referenced CM Punk and Jack Perry's incident. Bill Goldberg has some choice words to say about his time with WWE and the man that's steering the ship right now, Paul Triple H Levesque.
Yeah, so Goldberg was a guest on the new show, Nothing Left Unsaid, with Tim Green, and spoke very openly about his WWE run, saying that Triple H's real-life dislike of him has affected his legacy, from people beating his undefeated streak to people taking his finisher. He said, "A girl beat my undefeated streak. Asuka is her name, some Japanese girl, and they touched her as being being the one to have the longest winning streak. Touted her as being the one to have the longest winning streak. And it just so happened that culminated when I got there, and then it just so happened that every single wrestler uses the spear in their moves. Pretty ironic that happened when I got there, right? The fact that I didn't get along with Paul Levesque, Triple H, which is Vince's son-in-law, I think had everything to do with it.
So, Asuka, not to be confused with Ahsoka from off of that Star Wars thing, he is referring to Asuka, who did break his undefeated streak in 2017. There was a WWE.com article all about it. And Goldberg even tweeted her congratulations at the time.
Yes.
So he wasn't that bothered at the time. In terms of people using the spear, obviously Roman Reigns uses it, Braun Breaker uses it, Edge has used it for a while.
Yep.
I
mean, it's one of
everyone.
those moves. Quite a few people do use it here and there in passing, but then it just reminds me of like when people started using the DDT as well. Jake's finishing move, people started using the DDT.
And carrying snakes to the ring.
Yep, carrying snakes to the ring as well.
Everyone's doing that these days. Goldberg believes a lot of the heat that he had with Triple H was actually very real in terms of what we saw play out on screen. He said, "We had an interaction when I was at WCW leading the charge in New York at a press event. I know some people that were friends that worked with me were talking to him when he was working at WWE. He made a comment while I was at home." This is sort of referring to sort of the latter days of WCW. He said, "I was tanking it or faking it or something, and I wasn't there for the demise of WCW. How could I? So from then on, I wanted to rip his face off." So we had a confrontation prior to me signing with the WWE. Ironically, we were represented by the same agent, so it made the situation quite uncomfortable once I signed with WWE. So there's always been sort of speculation on this undercurrent of dislike between Triple H and Goldberg. We go back to 2003. I'm long in the tooth enough to remember that first time round. And the use of Goldberg in that story with Triple H was baffling because you had Goldberg, who has historically made a name for himself by just spearing people in short order and winning matches very quickly. And then he was having these long, drawn-out matches with the likes of Triple H and Chris Jericho.
And they weren't necessarily going well either.
No.
You could tell he was definitely getting tired in those matches, and it was something that he wasn't necessarily very familiar with, as you were kind of saying there as well. It just all comes across very salty.
Very
to
salty.
me, at least, anyway.
It's funny because yesterday we had Ronda Rousey speaking very openly about her bad experiences within WWE, and today we've got Bill Goldberg speaking very openly about his bad experiences within WWE. Both very different experiences, but both quite negative nonetheless, from people who probably won't work for WWE again. And I think that's probably important to why we're hearing these comments now.
Yeah, and I believe as well, wasn't it, that Goldberg once spoke about how he had this promise with Vince as well at the time that he would get something down the line again from WWE, maybe perhaps the send-off that Goldberg was hoping for, and yet obviously feel like that's not going to culminate in anything at the moment in regards to what's happening there.
No, and I think that has led to a little bit of frustration, and also Vince was very much into having Bill Goldberg as a regular appearance, like in case of emergency, break glass type person for feuds with, like, I remember he had the one with Dolph Ziggler, he had one with Drew McIntyre, he was brought in with Brock Lesnar, he's worked with Bobby Lashley. So he got some good work while Vince was under control, but now Triple H is steering the ship. I think Bill Goldberg probably not going to get much more WWE work since this guy doesn't like me very much.
However, Scott Hall did say it best once. He said, Asuka, you're a much better wrestler than Bill Goldberg.
I mean, and that's not even throwing shade. That's just quite true.
It is.
It's just quite true.
It is.
So that's comments from Goldberg to start our day today. Let's move over to Japan and some big news coming out of Stardom. So Tokyo Sports revealed that 4 key players for Wonder Ring Stardom are departing the company in what is feeling like the beginning of a mass exodus. So the timeline of events here is Rossi Ogawa, the founder of Stardom, had departed the company. He was already on course to leave, but what happened was there was some rumors and innuendo and some allegations that he was attempting to bring talent from Stardom with him to start a brand new wrestling promotion. And when this got out there, then his termination was essentially expedited. So that led to Rossi leaving and led to a frustration behind the scenes within Stardom, because this guy who was the founder has gone. And then it all came out that indeed he is planning to start a promotion. And one of the first names connected with it is former New Japan Strong Openweight champion Julia. And she was a big part of Stardom as well. And the plan is that before she joins somewhere like AEW or WWE, she'll do a tour with this new Rossi Ogawa promotion. And she has been joined by 4 other wrestlers as well. Let's go into those 4.
Yes, the first one, Mirai, a former Wonder of Stardom champion, won the annual Cinderella tournament 2 years in a row. She's part of the faction God's Eye and is currently 1/3 of the Artist of Stardom champions, which is the Stardom Trio's titles.
Mai Sakurai, a former Artist of Stardom champion, part of the faction Donna Del Mondo alongside Tekla and Julia. I believe on the news podcast this morning, which you can find by searching Cultaholic Wrestling News on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from, I may refer to her as Mai Sakura, so I apologize for that error. Do download the podcast and tell me how wrong I was. It's Mai Sakurai, who is a former Artist of Stardom champion and leaving along with Mirai, and that's not all.
No, we have Utami Hayashishita is a former Future of Stardom and World of Stardom champion, plus currently 1/2 of the Goddess of Stardom champions, which is the tag team titles, alongside Seiya Kamitani. There we go, we'll get there eventually. Earlier this week, she headlined a Stardom event in Nagoya, where she challenged once more for the Wonder of Stardom championship.
And Yuzuki joins that list as well. She's only 19 years old, and she is phenomenal. She won the Rookie of Stardom tournament back in January. She had an attempt at the Future of Stardom title last month, but was unsuccessful. But by winning that Rookie of Stardom tournament, you had to believe that Stardom had some big plans to feature Yuzuki. So her departing very much changes all of that.
Yeah.
Now, there were additional names that were reportedly committed to leaving Stardom in the wake of Rossi Ogawa's departure. One of those names is Mayu Iwatani, current IWGP Women's Champion. However, she's now been announced for the American Dream show they're putting on during WrestleMania week, which would suggest she's there for a bit. The Wrestling Observer has speculated that might change once her contract expires, though. She might want to head away once that deal is done. Interesting times for really Bushy Road, for Stardom, and for whatever Rossi Ogawa's cooking up.
Yeah, well, I believe that I read as well that a lot of the women within Stardom as well are quite very what's the word?
Close with Ogawa.
Close with Ogawa. Very sort of very. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of the word. Tom.
As in, like they're on his side. They're
on his side. And
because bear in mind that he very much built Stardom, so there's a lot of people that have that commitment and that dedication to him.
That was what the commitment. They had the working relationship with him. He did a lot, obviously, for women's wrestling as well, and they feel very just dedicated and passionate to want to continue to work with him as well for what he's done for a lot of people's careers. We'll get there eventually. It's Friday morning. I've not had the coffee yet.
I am in awe of Andrew at this time of the morning, who can, without blinking, pronounce Utami Hayashishita, but couldn't find the word commitment.
Yeah.
And you know what?
That's how it works.
The English language is a fabulous thing. Isn't language in general a wonderful thing as well? We'll end on this one. This is Drew McIntyre being a naughty boy once again.
Naughty boy indeed. So Drew has used CM Punk's injury, obviously, to shoot several Twitter shots here his way, referencing incidents and situations, of course, during his ill-fated AEW run. Now, in his latest video, though, Drew McIntyre is shown in his personal gym working out. He's telling CM Punk he looks forward to seeing him in Chicago, where obviously CM Punk is going to be for that Raw show as well. He then plays, however, Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River on the TV, an obvious callback to Jack Perry's comments at the Wembley Stadium show All In last August. The ones that led to the fight, obviously, that then led to CM Punk's firing within AEW. Ooh-wee.
Drew McIntyre, there's a wonderful remix, if you want it, of Cry Me a River, which features the opening of Cry Me a River with Drew McIntyre grunting doing tricep workouts. Drew has been brilliant.
It goes from strength to strength, I feel like, as well.
More than I've ever known him. He is set to meet Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40, and with CM Punk now working out without that triceps brace, it suggests to me that CM Punk may be involved in some way, shape, or form, if he's feeling up to it.
Definitely seems like that. Maybe if it was sort of in the capacity of commentary, I would have not thought of him really working the arm out as much and then showing it off on social media as much, which does, lead me to believe that he's going to get involved in some way, quite possibly physically.
Shenanigans aplenty for WrestleMania 40. Of course, for WrestleMania 40, headlined by Cody Rhodes, hopefully finishing the story at last against Roman Reigns on night 2. This weekend sees us give you part 2 of Rhodes to WrestleMania. We are telling the complete story of Cody Rhodes from his initial steps into the world of wrestling all the way to the main event of WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. On Sunday, it is the Wilderness Years. We look at Cody Rhodes as he finds his way through Ring of Honor, TNA, WCPW, and a litany of other places before getting to All In and what leads to All Elite Wrestling. It is the deepest dive into Cody Rhodes I think you'll find anywhere, and we will give you that on Sunday on the Cultaholic podcast feed. And as a Patreon, as a thank you, there's a video version just for you at patreon.com/Cultaholic. Anything you want to plug?
Nothing that I've got to plug, so go and check out Tom, Aidan, and Fraser's lovely podcast.
Can I plug what a lovely man Andrew is?
Oh, well, that's very kind of you.
That's all right, I will. What a lovely man Andrew is. And we'll have the latest wrestling news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Keys.
I love you, bye.